What's good, YouTube? Cardfight King here, Aqua Life Baby. You already know how it is. So today they revealed the, as expected, new Aqua Force Generation Break 8 Stride card. So I'm going to give you guys my quick analysis on this card. Compose. Alright, here we go. Generation Break 8, Counterblast 1. Until the end of turn, this unit gets auto Vanguard Circle Wave second to fourth time. So anywhere between the second and fourth battle. When your rear guard attacks, until the end of that battle, that unit gets power plus 5,000. And at the end of that battle, look at 4 cards from the top of your deck. Call 1 card to the rear guard circle with the unit that attacked. If the called unit has the wave ability, that unit and this unit gets power plus 5,000 till the end of turn. Shuffle your deck. This card's bad. This is not what I was expecting out of a GB. This is, I mean, I didn't expect Aqua Force to really get a good GB8 card or a solid GB8 card. I actually had low hopes for it, and this just more or less confirmed, you know, my outlook on Fires Collection 2017 for Aqua Force. All I'm looking forward to is the Super G Guard and the heal trigger, I guess. But pretty much, if you guys know, we have cards like Nectarios. You guys remember Nectarios? We got him in the clan booster. His ability is that, you know, when at the end, you know, if he attacks first or second battle, you Soul Blast 1, check top 4 for a card with the wave ability, call it to the circle that he is in, and then send him and the rest of those cards to the bottom of your deck. This card is literally that card in a way, except you just counterblast 1 and you get that ability for the turn. The stuff get, you know, your rear guards get 5k, only second to fourth battle though. And, you know, this is more of a check the top 4, call and replace. So you're going to be seeing that rather than sending it to the bottom of your deck, you're sending it to the drop zone because you're just replacing your unit. So already, you know, you're going to be losing some decks. Second off, we're relying on, I mean, the plus 5 power is more or less meh in a way. I don't really see the plus 5 power having an impact. Sure, it makes units like, you know, maybe Saberflow, Stacy, or whatever it is, hit for a 5k block, but that's just a, you know, that's just a 5k block. Sometimes we'd rather go after riggers anyways, and that's still just an intercept that they would throw at us. But the plus 5k power doesn't really do much. Given the Vanguard power, I mean, sure, if they don't have a perfect guard or G guards by that point in the game, sure, you know, him getting 5k power is okay, but that's only if you call a unit with the wave ability. So, in essence, that forces you to construct your deck based upon the wave cards that we received. And as you guys know, the wave cards that we received are not that good. They're really not that good. There's only very, very few that are actually, some are decent, but competitively speaking, a lot of the wave cards just really are not that good. Melania is the best universal wave card for our main deck that we have access to, because she, you know, for Thavis, I even see her being used in blue waves now along with Adelaide. You know, she is a resist 7k, and when you go into your Thavis stride or just being on Thavis, 5k power, so 12, and you get to draw a card for just 1 counterblast. She has a lot of value in the decks, and even in blue waves from what I have recently seen in certain different you know, mix-up decks type of way. Because you do use the Thavis strides hell of a lot often. Now, here's my issue. Again, the 5k power is not that great. You're replacing units, so when you're checking the top 4 cards of your deck, that means that you're being put in a situation where you have to hope. You have to hope that luck is on your side and you get a card with the wave ability in it. Despite even if you are playing a heavy wave deck, you still have a chance of drawing, your heal triggers off the top of their deck, a copy of Thavis, whatever it is, and then again you're going to also have to deal with with your opponent eating possibly in a position where they have to eat a damage if they're at 4 or less. By GB8 they shouldn't be at 4 or less, but if that's the case, they're going to eat a damage, and if they hit a trigger, then that's going to nullify his ability to give plus 5k to the row. Mind you that a lot of decks like Night Rose and Gear Chronicles, Angel Feathers and such have defensive options that give their Vanguard power on the defensive side, when they're on defense. So the 5k is really paltry and really does not have a heavy impact in, I just don't see it really having a heavy impact in the game on your turn. Sure, there'll be situations where your opponent's not going to really have anything to go with or whatever it is, but at the same time, you want to be, there are better finishers that you can use in place of this card, and then having to, randomly check the top 4 cards of your deck for a unit with the wave ability. And again, a lot of the decks, maybe Blue Wave more so than Thavis right now, is probably playing more cards with wave. But where my main point is that we have enough finishers in the deck. Pretty much all of our strides, save for, sometimes Commander Thavis in a way. I do see you can finish a game off with him depending on what you get, the situation and things like that. But we have cards like Tetra Boil for Blue Waves. This guy is one of your finishers. We have Commander Thavis. Go into him a second time, get a retire off with the plus 5k. You have Lambie Bambi. You guys, everyone knows about Lambros, plus 10k to 2 units after you stand them. So that's attack number 5 and 6 with plus 10k. And if you do a Tile Assault combo, Magnum Assault combo, Adelaide combo, then that's 2 attacks, 21k plus. Finisher. And then we have Wailing Thavis. When your opponent's at 5 damage, this is possibly the most dangerous card in your Stride deck when your opponent's at 5 damage. Board wipe, and opponent cannot use grade 1s to guard this card, forcing them to use G-guards and other cards in their hand. And the more attacks that you get off, the more cards you kill off their board, as well as giving him more power to swing with, and forcing opponents more or less to no guard, and having them rely on chancing a heal trigger. At the same time, you're chancing a crit trigger if you're at 4 damage. If not at 5 damage, you should win the game unless they hit a heal on 6. They sit there, no guard heal on 6. Otherwise, they're at most going to give you a 2 to pass, 3 to pass if they've built up a lot of hand, but then have to drop it again, and then have to deal with another one of these cards. At the end of a game, guys, or towards the midpoint in late game, double Lambros, double Commander Thavis, Wailing Thavis 2 times or 3 if that's your preference, maybe 1 or whatever it is. And if you're playing Tetra Boil, depending on how you configure your deck, because some people I know they've taken out Lambros, but Tetra Boil is also another one of your finishers. But more or less, between these 3 cards, if you're not playing Blue Waves, then don't worry about this guy. But these 3 cards, 4 are more or less your finishers. And what we have in the deck: Adelaides, Tidal Assaults, Magnum Assaults, High Tide Snipers, Stacia, things of that nature. Orthea, if you still play Orthea. A lot of these cards combo really well with these guys, and it makes it for us to be able to push damage by the, sometimes, yes, I understand. We all play Aqua Force. Well, not all, but sometimes we get off slow. We might be drawing a bunch of triggers, and it just might not be going well. But then by the time we stabilize and we start going into Lambros and Wailing Thavis and stuff, Wailing Thavis is cleaning boards, getting free damage, or putting a position in the game. Lambros is really pushing their hand and taking you into a heavy late game. Commander Thavis is giving you maybe a utility option later in the game. It's just, between all of these guys, you're telling me that by GB8, if I have to go through 2 Lambroses, 2, you know, 1 or 2 Wailing Thavises, you know, 2 Commander Thavises, maybe Tetra Ball if I'm playing Blue Waves or whatever it is. By that time, going through all of this, our opponent should be dead. It's either they're dead or we're dead, because it's not, you know, the play style of Aqua Force and how the games go. Sure, if you're playing against Link Joker, that might be another story, but this card really doesn't help you too much against Link Joker, because again, you're going to be relying on chance and your deck build to keep calling cards off the top. And mind you, it's the second battle to the 4th battle, so you have to achieve, you know, you have to achieve 2 battles already. Maybe swing with your Vanguard first, and then start swinging with your rear guards to do that. But then again, you know, you're going to only be able to apply triggers once. So again, there's just a lot of problems with this card. And for example, if I have Stacia on board, I don't want to, you know, attack with Stacia, then use this guy's ability to look at the top card and try and find a card to call from there. If he said the card gets the ability to attack from the back row, then I'm like, okay, sure, you can definitely replace him with, you can definitely replace Stacia with something. Otherwise, you're hoping to dig for another copy of Stacia to, you know, to replace her with if she attacks, and you do use his, you do use the ability. But if she does attack, you're gonna use up a wave. So you want to make sure that each wave counts, get the maximum value from this card. And again, the way our Aqua Force Stride decks are looking, we have to make room for the new Super G Guard. And Super G Guard is still really good. Got to make room for that. Probably cut one of your G Guards for that if you're going to just run 4, whatever. But then, you know, you look at that slot, you know, sure, I've seen some people cutting Seabreeze. I don't necessarily advise cutting Seabreeze, despite me really hating Seabreeze. But really, the only slot or 2 that you're going to have to choose if you want to run this card is between like Aristotle and Seabreeze. Seabreeze, I mean, I know that some Blue Waves decks don't run Seabreeze, and some people are starting now to make choice of not running Seabreeze. So if you're not running Seabreeze, but you're running something else, I still feel like you can get better value. You can get more utility out of your Stride deck than playing this card. Again, you have enough finishers to, you know, you have enough finishers, you have enough push strides that will force your opponent to, you know, close to 6 damage pretty fast. This guy just doesn't, he just doesn't cut it. In Thavis, preferably, I'm still going to stick with the same build, going with, you know, having Seabreeze in there to catch people, you know, to catch people who are slipping on grade 2, and you know, Aristotle. There are matchups where Aristotle is a really good first stride, especially if your opponent has threatening units, you know, multiple threatening units on the board, and you want to be able to get rid of one guaranteed and the other one by choice. You know, Aristotle is still a great utility stride to, you know, slow down your opponent's advantage from that point on. And then you can start going into Commander Thavis, getting, you know, Commander Thavis if the game's not where you want it. Get some field control as well as a back attack, possibly combo with Melania if need be. Then you have, you know, Lambros and Wailing. When your opponent's at 5 damage, look to, you know, generally you're going to want to look to going into Wailing. If not Wailing, you know, going to Lambros. So if Wailing's not there, going to Lambros. You know, and that's a hard decision in itself, depending on where, it really depends on where the damage is at, where their hand is at, where your hand is at, what's on your board, and things like that. Do you decide to go into Lambros or Wailing to make a finishing push? But nonetheless, between Tetra Boil, Wailing, Lambros, and whatnot, those cards are going to be making your finishing push. This card, on the other hand, is really not going to do that much for you. I mean, again, I see him more as a casual card. I see him heavily as a casual card for a deck that is more or less built upon. Now, you don't have to call a unit with Wave. You don't have to call a unit with Wave. That's one thing. You don't have to call a unit with Wave. But if you don't call a unit with Wave, then they're just going to get that they're just going to get that 5k power, and that's about it. And you're still going to replace it. You're still relying on chance. You know, if you do call a unit with wave, you get the maximum value out of this card. But if you don't call a unit with wave, then you're going to get half the value of what this card is going to give you, and that's just not something you want to do. In the game nowadays, the way the game is now, you want to get the full value out of your units. You want to get, you know, the full ability. You don't want to get half or 1/3, 1/4. You want to get the full value of his cards to push, because at the end of the day, you're playing to win the game. And that's it. You play to win, you know, you're playing to win the game. You're not playing to sit there and stall it out till you get to GB8, unless you're, you know, just playing casual, and that's something that you generally want to do. But what Aqua Force is designed to do is more or less try and get multiple attacks in to force hand, push damage, and end the game. And this card right here should not be used. I'm going to say it should not be used in a finishing situation if you still have Wailing Thavis available to you, Tetra Boil if you're playing Blue Waves, another copy Commander Thavis in a way, and Lambros, dropped him on the floor, but in Lambros. You know, if those cards are available to you, this card should generally not be an option. And by the time you get to GB8, you're going to be running through most of these cards. Remember, Wailing Thavis does not flip anything, so that's going to also, so since Wailing Thavis doesn't really flip anything, that also slows down your progression at GB8. I'm not factoring in G-Guards, okay? I'm not factoring in you drawing into a heal trigger and G-Guarding or Super G-Guarding and flipping too. I'm just going based upon where we are offensively, and this card, because this is the offensive card, where are we gonna do, how we're going to do this offensively. Okay, so again, it's not really good card. I'm not looking forward to this card. I'll probably get one copy of this card. I don't think it's gonna cost more than $3 or $5, whatever it is. If I pull it, great. If not, I'm not worried about it. The only thing really I want from the Fires collection is a copy or two of the Super G Guard and a playset of the Super G Guard's corresponding heal trigger. That's really about it. This card here, Aqua Force GB8, I give it I give it a 1 out of 5. Just not where it's at, not something that you're going to play. You can get better value out of your Stride deck through other cards. Alright, it's Cardfight King, baby. I'll see y'all later. Peace. And you know what it is. Aqua Life.